How's it going, guys? Cheese here at Cheese on Everything. As you guys have all seen, I do a lot of drone shots on this channel, and I've been flying drones for about 5 years now. Started in the backyard like everybody else with a Phantom 2 and the Phantom 4. Moved on to the Mavic Pro, and I sold all those drones for this, the original Mavic Air. It's such a small drone, it fits in my bag without actually having to take up a spot for a lens. So that was the main reason for switching to this. But the other reason is the fact that it's harder and harder now to get these drones in the air because of all the drone laws. Previously having my Phantoms confiscated on cruises and TSA constantly checking my bags because of drones, I've actually gotten a lot less hassle with this Air because it's so small it kind of looks like a toy. But because this drone is still over the 250 gram limit, you still have to register this drone with the corresponding government agencies. And sometimes that could take up to 3 months. Like when I went to Japan, it was a long process and I just don't want to bother with that anymore. So that is why I bought the Mavic Mini. And of course I had to buy the Fly More combo for more flight time. With this drone at 249 grams, I don't even have to register it anymore, and I could basically fly this almost anywhere within reason. Obviously you still have to abide to all the drone laws, but I feel like I could get this drone up in the air with a lot less hassles than all my other drones. And with this being so small, I could actually fit this in my pocket or my everyday carry, and I can always have a drone on me at all times. There's a very common saying in the camera world, and that is the best camera is the one that you have on you. So with drones, the best drone is the one you can actually fly. So without having to register this drone or even have a license to fly it, this would be the perfect travel drone for me. But without further ado, let's do a little unboxing. We got a really nice hard case, batteries with a nice little logo, and you actually get a charger this time. A lot of products don't give you this power brick anymore, so this is a nice touch. And let's check out this case. Ooh, this looks really nice. So the original Mavic Air is already a really small drone, but in comparison, the Mavic Mini is extremely tiny. So with batteries in both of these drones, the Mavic Mini is significantly lighter than the Mavic Air. One thing I did notice right off the bat though is that these motors are really exposed compared to all the other DJI drones. I have seen some aftermarket motor covers for this drone, but so far they're all made out of aluminum. I do hope that someone will make plastic versions of it to keep the weight under the 250 gram limit. Let's see what else we have in the box here. More stickers. We got the remote here, which looks almost exactly the same as the Mavic Air remote, except it doesn't have the switch, because a lot of the controls are now actually in the app. So under here are the controller sticks, which is identical to the Air except that these are plastic and not aluminum. They do give you extra pair in case you lose it. Some USB cables for your phone. Another thing here is we got the multi-battery charger. Charges 3 batteries sequentially and also doubles as a power bank, which is a huge plus for someone like me who always travels and is outside. And you also get 3 more complete sets of props in case you ding any of them up. I have gone through actually about 3 sets of props now with the Mavic Air, just hitting trees and stuff like that. So with the Mavic Mini unfolded and all the props fully extended, when you put the Mavic Air on top, it actually has a very similar footprint. The props maybe are a little bit longer on the Mavic Air, but it's almost exactly identical. The props are screw-on instead of the locking mechanism you get in the Mavic Air. Kind of like the locking mechanism better because they stay where they are, and when you're putting it away it doesn't flop all over the place. The DJI claims that because the props are using centrifugal force to stay open, it actually reduces wind noise. One of my biggest complaints with the Mavic Air was because of the noise. And with this drone being one of the quietest DJI drones, we'll see how much quieter this drone actually is compared to the Mavic Air. You can tell that the plastic is a lot more flimsy, but the flexibility might help with crashing and it taking some of the force away instead of breaking the arms. Not really going to do a crash test, but if I do crash, I definitely will let you guys know how this fares. So without further ado, let's charge this thing up and take it outside for a spin. To demonstrate how easy it is to deploy the Mavic Mini, I'm going to do it on the one wheel. One thing I noticed with the joysticks is that the threading is a little bit shorter. It feels like it doesn't need to be screwed on as many rotations as the Mavic Air. Putting the USB onto the phone is exactly the same, and flipping out the props is a very easy process. You do have to flip out the front props first because they lock in the rear pair, and I was actually surprised that I could launch the drone while I was moving. Following the one wheel going at around 15 to 20 kilometers per hour, I was able to get 25 minutes of flight time off of one battery, which is really impressive considering my Mavic Air only did about 15. The image quality isn't as good as the Mavic Air because that drone is 4K, but the 2.7K on this drone is definitely usable. If you're doing any high-end climb work, I would suggest buying the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic Pro because those two drones are a bit better in image quality. But if you're just recording videos for personal use or uploading to YouTube, recording in 2.7K and exporting it in 4K will definitely do the trick. In terms of the overall flying experience, I think this drone actually handles better than the Mavic Air. I think it has something to do with the size and weight because this drone feels a lot more agile and nimble. DJI put in a new feature called the Cinematic Mode, which dials down the joystick sensitivity, making it really easy to capture smooth footage. On the other end of the spectrum, you can make this drone go crazy as well with something called the Fpv Mode, locking the x-axis of the gimbal, creating somewhat of the FPV look. Obviously, with only one axis locked, you won't get the same diving motions as a real FPV, but it's nice to know that DJI gives us that option. I tested this drone on a windy day in sport mode and it handled it perfectly fine without the gimbal moving erratically. The app did give me a lot of wind warnings, but the drone held its own and it gave me confidence to fly even in those gusty situations. You do, however, need to look out for obstacles because this drone only has downward facing sensors and nothing on the sides. It actually makes you a better pilot in the long run because you're not dependent on the sensors to not crash into anything. You'd be more observant of all the obstacles that are around the drone, whether that would be trees or buildings. In many cases, I actually prefer not having the sensors because a lot of times when I want to get that epic shot and get really close to objects, the Mavic Air actually stops me from doing that because the sensor senses something and it just stops the drone and ruins the shot. So this not having any sensors except for the bottom lets me fly freely and do whatever I want to do. The best way I can put this is like your stripped out 90s sports car. You don't have any electronic aids, it's just you, the steering wheel, and the pedal. So wherever you put this drone is wherever it's going to fly. And for all those pilots who are new to the drone world, the same kind of metaphor applies. You're not going to buy a Tesla to learn how to drive on autopilot. You want to buy a beater because even if you do crash into something, which is very likely, you're not going to care about it as much. And for all the people like myself who already have drones, the way I see it, this is like my little point and shoot camera. It doesn't have all the high-end specs, but at least you have a camera to use if the primary camera does break. Hope you guys liked the review of the Mavic Mini. Now on to the giveaway. So the giveaway winner for the Low Pro Protactic 450 AW is Max Thrills. Seeing that you're doing pretty good work, so I'm going to be giving you the backpack to help you on your way. So I'll be contacting you through the comments. Leave me your Instagram account so I can contact you for your address and I will be sending you the bag. So hope you guys liked this review. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.